Hello everybody, MD Polo here. Thank you for joining me. On the table today, we're going to take a look at the Shadow Systems MR920. What I want to do is not do a full review, give you all the specs and all that, but tell you a bit about why I like this gun and why I think it's worth the price of admission. That seems to be the question that a lot of people are asking is, my goodness, with an MSRP of a bit over $1,000, I believe it's actually like $1,022. You can find them in retail stores for this particular model. This is the combat model with the optic cut and the bronze fluted barrel. The gun is unloaded, has been safety checked several times. For our all knowledgeable manual YouTube reviewer, this gun is exactly as it came from the factory. And actually, if we go to the owner's manual, and if we go to page 1415, it tells you everything about how mounting an optic, it's not modifying a gun, but it's part of the gun itself. They do a fantastic job in showing you how to use them, what optics to use, and we'll go through that in a little bit. But this is mostly so the manual reviewer can go back to enjoying their videos, his videos or her videos of kittens, and leave us alone for something that they don't know anything about. Now that that's out of the way, what do you get with the Shadow Systems and if it's worth your money? Mostly compared to, let's say, a Glock 19, this is exactly the size of a Glock 19. Now they've got a CR 920 out, which is the size of a Glock 43. And they also have a couple other models, one to mimic the size of a Glock 17. And then I believe that's the DR 920, I believe. And then they have the XR 920, which is more like a Glock 19X. So this is directly going against the Glock 19, but they've decided to do a lot of the upgrades that most people want to do aftermarket and give it to you all in one neat little package. So the question tends to be, well, is it worth the price of admission? You know, something locally in the stores, you're going to find them around the $900 range. I'll try to remember to put a card up here somewhere with a video that I did recently on a ZR Tactical Solutions Glock 48. And after doing all the upgrades to that Glock, we were pushing somewhere around, $1,500, a little bit over that, to do all the upgrades to it. So if you can buy something like this for around $900 with everything already on it, I think it's worth the price of admission, especially as well done as the MR920 is. Now, I paid for this. I bought it with my own money. Nobody sent this to me. So if I'm saying nice things about it, it's because this is the way I truly feel about it. And that's what I say in all my videos anyway, regardless of who sent me the pistol. So like I said, the size of a Glock 19. And you get a nice soft case, a rug, whatever you want to call it. And you get two mags. They're not Glock mags, but it is compatible with Glock mags. And we'll talk about it in a little bit. So P-mags with that, do you see the plate? And that plays a role, and we'll talk about it in a second. But you get two of those. Also, interestingly enough, well, this is the plate cover for the optic, and you get all the screws. Come on, focus. You get all the screws, the longest screws probably I've ever seen for an optic, plus these little spacers, which is part of the genius of their system. You also get 3 different back straps. And let's talk about that for a second. Because it's very interesting how, you see the back straps, unlike a Glock, that you actually get a strap that pushes over the grip module and goes all the way up. These just go up to here. And you just punch the pin out and remove it. But what it does, it changes the angle of the grip itself, the back part of the grip, and thus changing your reach from the back strap to the trigger shoe. You can do it like I have it here, which mimics the angle of a 1911, or you can also do it, one of the included back straps, it changes the angle more like a Glock hump back here, or the other one mimics more of a CZ75. So you pretty much can go ahead and get any grip angle that you want and feel very comfortable with it. Since we're down here, let's stick to the bottom. It has this included polymer magwell that does a very, very good job for the mag changes. And if you wish to not have it, all you do is punch this pin out. The magwell comes right out, and they even give you the tool in here to do the work. And then you have this extra little piece in here that you just exchange it for the one that holds the magwell in place. So it just comes, punch the pin out, that little piece comes right out, remove the magwell, put the other piece in, put the pin back in, and you're ready to go. And the reason I'm saying that you may or may not want the magwell, unless you're doing competition or tactical reloads or whatever you're into, is that, as you know by now, probably, I have medium-sized hands, true medium-sized hands. And when I grip it, I do have, it's comfortable, but it does pinch me in. It helps me keep a nice grip on it. But somebody with larger hands, this is really going to cramp you. So you may not want the magwell unless you need it for a specific reason. Sticking here with a grip panel, with a grip module, the texture is wonderful, and it goes all the way on top. A lot of them, the manufacturers stop the texture somewhere around here, but Shadow Systems wisely chose to take it all the way up high. The other thing you're not going to see is the indentations on the top part of the grip panel that you normally find on a Glock. It is flat. It is wonderfully flat, and I really enjoy that. As an example here, I have an unloaded Glock 48. I don't have the 19 handy, but you can see, even though it's got the Talon grips, you can see the indentation here that I'm talking about. And of course, it's a safety check, no mag or anything. So they did a really good job with the texture in both in the back and in the front. Very nice. Jumping up a little bit, but you can see also they have the same type of texture in the front of the trigger guard, as well as on the sides, on both sides. Very nice. So whether you want to use that as a gas pedal here, because let's see if it'll catch it. You see it's got a nice ledge. It's very tactile. You feel it it's very easy to put your thumb there and hold it for recoil. And on the other side, you got it in exactly the same place for indexing of your trigger finger. So very nicely done. They put a lot of thought into all the aspects of this. Staying with the area here, you got a very nice undercut behind the trigger, under the trigger guard, allowing you to get really high up on the grip, and then getting the stop here, the leverage, from this very nice beaver tail. It's wide enough, but it's not it's contoured. It's not as flat, for example, as the Beretta APX was. This got a nice little contour to it, so it fits nicely into the web of your hand. Now, another thoughtful thing they did here is with a slide stop, even though it's not ambi, which surprises me, but with a slide stop here, they got this guard around it. So if you tend to be like I do, tend to have thumbs forward like this, I tend to ride the slide stop on a lot of guns, and then they don't lock open for me. They did a very good job with that, and putting a guard here on it. The mag release button, it's got a little bit of texture here. I would have liked to seen a little bit more texture, but it is very adequate, and it works just fine. Let me show you. Sorry about the focus. There it goes. And they pop out just fine. And since we're there, I mentioned that I was going to talk about the base plate of the mags. With the P-Mag that they supply, you see not only it's got some texture on the side here, it's got some indentations so you can reach it if you needed to, if you needed to strip the mag out of the gun. And the reason it's a little bit larger like this is because you can, like I said, you can use Glock 19 mags, the 15 round Glock 19 mags. But if you're using the magwell, the Glock 15 mags are going to be almost flush with the magwell. So if you needed to to strip a mag, it's going to be very difficult for you to get your fingers in there. If you don't have the mag well in there, it's going to work just fine. But with the mag well, you are really going to need to use the PMags included by Shadow Systems if you want to have any chance of gripping this and stripping the mag out. So that's just a little food for thought there. So taking the mag out, let me remove this from the table. Not much else to see in there. Okay, so we're here. We talked about the mag release. Now the trigger. The trigger is going to be your standard Glock type trigger. Come on, focus. Here we go. And it's got the safety blade right here in the middle, and it's very nice. It almost disappears 100% into the trigger shoe. And then you're going to have it disappears into the trigger shoe. You come into a wall right there, and then you're going to have a little bit, it stacks up quite a bit right there. Push through that wall, and it's going to be a solid 5.5, 6 pound break on this gun. Now mind you, Shadow Systems in the manual does tell you that this gun will have about a 200 round breaking period, and they are correct. So I don't know if it's going to get lighter a little bit later, but right now it's not as, let's just say, smooth. I don't mind the 5.5 pounds. I wish it was smoother. I'm not overly impressed with the trigger. There's the break. So you're instantly on the wall, and it breaks. What I can say is that it's a good defensive trigger, but is it much better than a regular Glock trigger? Well, you're at the wall, break, reset, break, wall, break, reset, break. I don't know. It's for $1,000. I wish it was a little bit nicer, a little bit smoother, but definitely will do the job. It's definitely a good self-defense trigger. I just wish it was a little bit smoother. You put this trigger next to even a PDP, PPQ, and it's got nothing on them. Even the Canics, it's got nothing on them. What? HK, VP9 or VP9SK, all those triggers blow this one out of the water. But is it adequate? More than adequate. Takedown mechanism is going to be the same as in any Glock, just pulling the tabs down. And, you do have to dry fire it. The slide comes right off. Now, as I think I mentioned it, but if I don't, I will now. They have several models of the MR920, and a lot of it is going to depend on whether you want the fancy one that has the different type of serrations, but they go all across the top over here. Also, we'll have some lightning cuts on both sides of the barrel, or this, which is the combat. And the combat just doesn't have any openings on this on the slide itself, and also the I think it's called the Elite. I'm not sure exactly, but the one that has, I'm trying to remember what it was called, but anyway, the one that has the cuts and the serrations on the top and everything, it comes already standard with the optic cut for the red dot. For the combat model, this is an option. So you can get it with the fluted barrel, the gold fluted barrel. You can get it gold, copper, this is the burned copper, or black. So you have a choice in that. I think it looks very nice. And the theory behind it is that it's going to be easier to keep clean with a fluted barrel. That stuff, it'll just, all the crap will just roll off. But they did a very, very nice job. Just letting you see it. It's got night sights on it, and the night sights are by Ameriglow. It's my favorite brand of sights. The front has got that fluorescent green. The back is just got this serrated black. See if the focus will catch up. Let the light catch up. It's not playing nice with me, but you get the idea. There it is. So you get, the optics system is very ingenious, and it is designed for a lower 1/3 co-witness, as you see here. And what's really ingenious is that you mount, regardless of the optic that you have, you mount it directly on the slide. No need for plates. And like I mentioned to you earlier, they have the longest screws. They had to redesign this whole area in the back here, the extractors, the channels, and all that, because the screws basically come to about down here. The longest screws I've ever seen. And then what you do is, depending on the optic that you have, you see the little spacer back here? My optic ends here, and the spacer, depending on whether you have a holosun, whether you have a delta point, or you have any of the SIGs, whatever you have, it's got different plates in the baggie. And maybe that'll give me a little bit better light. So you choose the plate that you have, you put it in there, and it's quite tight, actually. And then you start attaching your optic per the instructions, and it is mounted directly on the slide. So very secure, very robust screws, and this thing's not going anywhere, and with a lower 1/3 co-witness, it's just a really, really nice setup. Size-wise, like I mentioned to you, is the size of a Glock 19 or a Glock 48. I don't have a 19 here, but I do have a 48, which is, except for the width, same size as a Glock 19. Very comparable. There you are, front to back. So you can see a little bit thinner. Focus is not catching up, but a little bit thinner on the Glock 48. But overall, very comparable in size. Just to give you a size reference, that's all that was for. So what do I think about the Shadow Systems MR920? I think it's spectacular. I really do. I love the way it shoots. It's very accurate. I was mentioning to you about the 200 round breaking period. You do have to go through that. What tends to happen sometimes is when you're firing, it'll get hung up. You see that? Look. You see it gets hung up, and then it goes. So all that will go away after I go through the 200 round breaking period. I only have about 100 rounds, a little bit over 100 rounds through it. So all that will wear out, not worried about it. But read your owner's manual, and yes, you do have to go through the break-in period. Overall, I think it's a fantastic gun. I like it much, much better than a Glock 19, any day of the week, and Sunday as well. I think it's worth every penny. Like I mentioned to you earlier, I'm starting to ramble, but I spent over $1,500 now to get a Glock 48 exactly like I wanted it. And here I can get all this, and actually done a lot better than what I did with, gosh, $900. So let me know what you think. Do you own the MR920? Do you like it? Do you think it's worth the price of admission? I would like to know what your thoughts are. If I didn't mention it already, I'm sorry. I have the Holosun mounted on top of it, and this is the 507C X2. Really love this object. Red dot, I'm sorry. So here we go. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think about it. Please click the like and the subscribe buttons. It does help us a tremendous amount. And if I'm not responding to your comments, please know that it's not because I'm not trying to respond to them. Something's going on with YouTube that I see that I have, let's say, 20 notifications on my YouTube Studio Creator, and I go to respond to them, and it only shows me 10. And after I respond to the 10, it still shows me that I have 10 more, but I can't see them. I've contacted YouTube, and they pretend or they don't know what's going on. I get no answers from them. So please be patient with me. I'm trying to get to all of them, but I'm not seeing all of them. And one more thing before I say goodbye to you. I've got this Glock 19 mag in it with a +2 extension, and that's how it looks like. I keep forgetting to show you things about it. And then for a weapon mounted light, it would look like that. But according to YouTube, I can't install that. So anyway, there it is. Now I am going to say goodbye. Thank you very much for watching. Please check me out on Instagram. You can see there a lot of what goes on to the YouTube channel way before. Thank you for stopping by, and until the next one, God bless.